News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Ryan Zinke survives Bernie Sanders in his confirmation hearing. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Wednesday, January 18th, 2017. Right now, we have interesting weather going on. It's warming up. It's 18 degrees in Missoula. We have freezing rain reported right now on I-90 from Frenchtown to Superior, also on Highway 93 south from Missoula down to Stevensville, and especially bad on Highway 200 in the Thompson Falls area. It's expected to move closer to Missoula as we go through the day and cause real problems for our morning commute, so please be aware of that. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Dig-It Excavating, bringing 30 years of excellence to every job, 214-4292. Our top story this morning, Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke was questioned on everything from sexual assault to climate change yesterday as part of the confirmation hearings before he could become the new U.S. Secretary of the Interior. In a moment of Montana solidarity, both Republican Steve Daines and Democrat John Tester urged support of Zinke. Here are some of Tester's remarks.
Of course, there are issues that the congressman and I don't see eye to eye, but if he provides you with the answers that he has provided to me, I expect you will find that he is well equipped to hold this post with accountability. As a Westerner, I know what's at stake, so I am honored to introduce Congressman Zinke to this committee. I trust that a Navy SEAL, as always, will shoot straight.
Things were a bit more heated when Vermont's Senator Bernie Sanders asked questions on climate change. Zinke affirmed climate change does exist and man does contribute to it, but said there was debate over how best to respond.
I don't believe it's a hoax. I believe we should...
You do not believe it's a hoax?
No, I believe we should be prudent to be prudent. That means I don't know definitively. There's a lot of debate on both sides of the aisle.
Well, actually, there's not a whole lot of debate now. The scientific community is virtually unanimous that climate change is real and causing devastating problems.
Sanders also questioned Zinke on the issue of public land transfer.
Some of my conservative friends believe that the day should come when we should privatize the national park system. What's your feeling on that?
I am absolutely against transfer or sale of public land.
Good. That's a clear answer.
Can't be any more clear.
No, you can't. Thank you.
If confirmed, Zinke would oversee a multitude of federal agencies, including the National Park Service and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. After months of delays, protests, and legal filings, Missoula County District Judge Robert L. Dusty Deshaw yesterday granted Home Base Montana the right to demolish the historic Missoula Mercantile Building to make way for a new Residence Inns by Marriott. Home Base Montana's Andy Halloran comments.
We're just very, very thankful that we're in a position to continue on with this great sense of commerce, the vitality that this corner deserves, and really continuing this with the new mercantile, which I think will be the next phase of this iconic property.
Halloran said he immediately pulled the partial demolition permit and will begin to make the building and the neighborhood safe for remediation and demolition.
Yeah, I think as we're sitting here today, we have a lot of work to do on the deconstruction and the preservation of the pharmacy building. Our goal is to go vertical late summer this year, and that would put us in a position to open up in the spring of 2019.
Deshaw said the argument came down to a, quote, purely legal issue, end quote, and the city council balanced, quoting again, historic preservation with the need to maintain a robust and active downtown economy, end quote. A jury has cleared a Butte police officer of wrongdoing in the fatal shooting of a man who authorities say pulled a gun on the officer as he responded to a domestic disturbance. The Montana Standard reports the jury's decision yesterday was part of a coroner's inquest into last year's death of 36-year-old Peter Grandpré. Lieutenant John O'Brien testified he shot Grandpré after responding to a call from Grandpré's wife that her husband was drunk, throwing objects around the house, and had two guns. Two children, ages 4 and 6, were also in the home. O'Brien had been wearing a body camera at the time. After watching the video of the June shooting, Butte-Silverboe County Sheriff Ed Lester said the officer acted appropriately. Missoula police were on the lookout for a stolen car, but they ended up arresting the complainant instead. Police Public Information Officer Travis Welsh said the complaint about a stolen car came in Sunday morning.
Just before 2:30 a.m., officers were called to a residence in the 1000 block of West Pine Street where a male had indicated he wanted to report that his vehicle was stolen. The officers responded and attempted to speak with the male. However, they were having trouble understanding him. As they described it, it was unintelligible to the point that a friend had to help.
Through the friend's interpretation, police found the car had not been stolen, but was in another friend's house. During this time, police also noted that the complainant had had 2 warrants for his arrest.
After the car had been located and the male decided that it wasn't actually stolen, the officers went to attempt to speak to him about the warrants that he had outstanding. He refused to answer his door. The officers reported that the male had indicated that he couldn't answer the door because he was in Billings, despite having spoken to the officers earlier in the evening.
Police arrested 19-year-old Jacob Campbell on 5 separate charges, including 2 outstanding warrants for failure to appear in court. A Washington state utility says the partial closure of Montana's Colstrip power plant could come earlier than planned, depending on the actions of a plant co-owner and Montana lawmakers. Documents released yesterday detail Puget Sound Energy's plan to retire 2 of Colstrip's 4 generating units. The 2,100-megawatt facility is one of the largest coal plants in the West. Puget Sound reached an agreement last year with environmentalists that requires the 2 units to close by July of 2022. However, Puget Sound said that could happen sooner, given that co-owner Talon Energy wants to exit its role as the plant's operator by the middle of next year. Puget Sound also suggests an early closure could be prompted by a proposed wholesale energy tax increase in Montana aimed at helping the community of Colstrip. The National Weather Service is expecting a freezing rain event that's going on right now in the valleys of western Montana and will continue into the morning commute today. Meteorologist Lance Vandebogart said the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys will only be slightly affected by the freezing rain.
We're having a system come in overnight and into the morning where there's going to be some warm air aloft. And although the Missoula and Bitterroot Valley only look to receive like less than a tenth of an inch of precipitation, the chance that it could be freezing rain could mean that it could freeze up roads and have some impact.
Vandebogart said the biggest areas of concern will be to the north and west of Missoula.
Our biggest areas of concern is going to be to the northwest of the Missoula and Bitterroot Valley, more like up the Highway 200 corridor and US 2, like Libby, Troy, Trout Creek, and even I-90 towards Lookout Pass, where a lot of that moisture it's kind of coming from the west, and the Montana-Idaho border is going to get more of it.
And checking my road condition map from the Montana Department of Transportation, which, by the way, is updated live every time there's an update, it shows that we do have freezing rain and ice on I-90 from Frenchtown to Superior, Highway 200 in the Thompson Falls area, and Highway 93 south from Missoula to Stevensville. There's some freezing rain right now. Also, the City-County Health Department said air quality should improve as the warm, moist system moves through the area. Our News Talk time is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
A chance of snow and freezing rain this morning, with our daytime highs eventually warming into the upper 20s and low 30s. Tonight, pockets of freezing rain will develop with our lows in the 20s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.